Okay, we're here at Best of West Shooting Sports, your 1,000-yard public range. And as we pan back from 1,000 yards and you watch the plates and berms disappear, we're going to explain why we shoot so many holdover scopes. All right, behind us, you can see the different yardages. You see 100, 250, the dark berm is 500. The white berm starts 600 yards, 600 meters, 750 yards, and the furthest back on the left is 1,000 yards. Now we shoot all these different yardages with holdover scopes. Now BDC scopes have been out for a long time. And an actual bullet drop compensating scope, I've been shooting for over 50 years. And when they first came out, it was a dial scope. For your elevation, you dialed it. So you buy a scope, you get a bag with 4 or 5 different dials, you'd match up the dial that best fits your rifle. Once you zero, you drop the dial in. And so then you had the little window there that you could see the numbers. But laser rangefinders back then were not cheap and easy to get like they are now. So you had to guess. You had to estimate, guess your yardage, and then you put on your reading glasses, and if you had enough daylight left, you could sit and look through the little window and see the little bitty numbers and set it and shoot. And they didn't really go over all that well. And what people found out real quick was those scopes in that price range that most people could afford would not reliably track. In today's dollars, if you convert it to about $300 to $500 in today's dollars, those scopes would just not reliably track every time. And I know I made a bunch of people mad when I just said that, but they wouldn't. How many times have you been sighting in a scope and you're moving it, shooting, moving, shooting, moving, shooting, moving, it's loading up on you, and all of a sudden it goes way off or off the paper. So people learned real quick to take a little rubber handle screwdriver with them. They'd make whatever adjustments they made on the scope, and they would just lightly, with the rubber handle, lightly tap the scope tube, not the turrets, the scope tube, and that vibration was kind of like shooting the rifle, but you saved the ammo. And then the scope would go ahead and move and would settle in and would be zeroed. But when you're hunting, you can't take a rubber handle screwdriver with you. Now I know there are people out there right now that are just screaming at the video screen, you should have bought a better scope. Well, if you buy one of those new super scopes, whatever brand it is, I mean there's a bunch of them out there, whether it's Night Force Smith & Bender or whatever, they start at about $2,000 and go up, and yes, they will reliably track every time. Because you're not just buying the name and the glass, you're buying the internals. So you can shoot, you can go 12 inches over, 12 inches down, 12 inches back cross, 12 inches back up for the box test, shoot again, it's in the same hole. But that's a $2,000 scope. And I have some for target rifles, but I don't hunt with them because they take too long to set. A holdover scope, you can shoot faster. Now I know you're thinking, you watched a hunting show last week or 2 weeks ago where 2 guys went out into the mountains of Colorado, Wyoming, wherever. They saw a big bull across the canyon or a big buck, and they saw it and they shot it, and you saw it on TV and you think that you can do it. Well, what they didn't tell you was they're on private land with a landowner permit on a guided hunt. And that hunt probably cost as much as the last new car truck you bought. And the game on those private ranches is not crowded and pressured like it is on public land and national forests. So the hunts that most people can afford, where they put in their name for a lottery draw, they get drawn and they go, or if you're on even private land that's close to a national forest, then that game is hunted and pressured, and you're not going to have all day or 25 minutes to set up. You know, they didn't show you the get out the weather station, get out the wind meter, get all that data, input it into a ballistic calculator to get a firing solution, and then put on their reading glasses and set the scope and get everything ready. By then the camera crew's set up, okay, action. And then they shoot and they drop it. They didn't show you that. They didn't show you how long it took to get set up. It might have been 20 minutes. A lot of times you don't have 20 seconds. So if you have a holdover scope, you can shoot faster. Now there's different types of holdover scope and different yardages. Some of the new ones are what they call a HUD scope. You say, what's HUD? That's a heads-up display. So like on a cockpit of a fighter jet, where they have all this information on one screen. And they've got scopes like that now that have wind holds, and they have holdover points. They've got different rangefinders for different size targets all around the outside edges. So those rangefinders or scales, where you can pull up and scale your game, get a yardage, go to your holdover point and shoot. That's fast. Now, not all of them have that. Or you might not be hunting, the animal you're hunting might not be the same size as the rangefinders you have in the scope. So what you do then, you got a laser rangefinder. You can get good ones now, cheap and easy. Put it somewhere where you can find it blind, keep your eye on the target, pull that rangefinder out, get your yardage, put it back, pull your rifle up to your line of sight and shoot. You've got your yardage, and that's fast. You can take that shot in 15 to 20 seconds easily, and not 15 or 20 minutes. Now there are different types of scopes now, hunting class scopes and then longer scopes. I mean, they've had a lot of scopes out that in the standard calibers, like a 270, 30-06, there's a whole list of calibers. They go from 100 to 500 yards. You sight them in at 100, you got holdover points all the way to 500. If it's at 450, you go halfway between 4 and 5. The same exact scope with the same holdover points with a Magnum rifle, 7 mag, 300 Win mag. You sight them at 200 to go to 600. And for most people, that's as far as they are comfortable shooting. Or it's as far as the rifle they're shooting has enough muzzle energy left to cleanly take an animal and not just wound it. That's the other thing. You can hit a target at 1,000 yards, but do you have enough muzzle energy left to take it down? So that's the reason why we like the holdover scopes. So you can shoot them so much faster on the target. You know, there might be a time sooner or later where you have lots of time to shoot. There's a better chance that you won't. They didn't get to be big in trophy class by being stupid. And sometimes you might only have 10 to 20 seconds to shoot. And you cannot do that with a scope you have to crank and dial on. Now we're going to be doing 2 videos on how you can fine-tune your holdover scope to your rifle. There's going to be one, it's going to be for factory box store-bought ammo. The other one, where you have more options, is going to be for people that can reload. And they're 2 separate videos, so we're going to separate them, make them 2 separate videos where it's not so long. So when you subscribe to the channel, be sure and check the box that says send me updates. So when we do a new video, it will send you the email that we did a new video and tell you what it is, and you can go and watch it. We're just here to do all the research and work out all the bugs for you and save you time and money. So be sure and tell your friends about us, and thanks a bunch for watching.